7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glasser. Come right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source. Of course, the great folks right there for you at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out Oxide T47 today at LakersBall.com. Plus our good friends at the Hoopheads Podcast Network, Lakerholics.com. You know, Laker Tom is going to be doing some writing. The number one Lakers blogger that's out there. You know he's got a lot to say. That's at Lakerholics.com. Our good friend Jamie Sweet with 5 things. He's also going to be saying a lot of things right there for you at Lakerholics.com. Our good friends, again, like I said, the Hoopheads Podcast Network. If you want your lawn transformed like no one else and you live in SoCal, let SimBlades do it for you. SimBlades with a Y.com. Plus, of course, our awesome playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break channel, which you can catch the game tomorrow with us against Milwaukee with a new look Lakers. Go ahead and check it out tomorrow with us. And of course, the post game and our live coverage starting at 10 a.m. in the morning Pacific time. We're going to go ahead for 2.5 hours as well right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So please like and subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air. Plus also Courtside Lakers on Instagram. Big shout out to them also as well, catching this live. And if you catch all that, support all that, plus our preview coverage of the Super Bowl and Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and of course, everything going on in the world of pop culture on the Pop Culture Cosmos. It is sincerely appreciated. Woo. That's what we've been doing here in the past 15 minutes since the word dropped for both Adrian Wojnarowski and Shams Charania battling for the news, with one guy getting it out sooner, the other guy trying to go ahead and get it more complete. It's been interesting to see the battle between who gets the most information and fast and how when, because in the past few hours, the Lakers have been trying to negotiate a deal to get themselves rid of Russell Westbrook and finally get them off their hands after last night's, reported argument during halftime between Russell Westbrook and Coach Darvin Ham. It seems like there was some trouble brewing there, which kind of expedited even more, besides losing Kyrie Irving as well and losing out on that. Seems to have expedited something more. So the Lakers finally went out and finally pulled off a big 3-team trade. How big? That's what we're going to discuss on today's episode of the Lakers Fast Break. And there's still more to come before the trade deadline, we hope. But today, the Lakers, after all is said and done, they pulled off a 3-team trade. And I'm going to go ahead and read the particulars as I have them as of now. The Lakers got D'Angelo Russell from Minnesota, the Minnesota Timberwolves. They got Jared Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley from the Utah Jazz. The Jazz get Russell Westbrook, Juan Toscano-Anderson, and Damian Jones. Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Mike Conley go to Minnesota. Minnesota gets a 2024 lesser of the Washington-Memphis second-round pick, and a 2025 and 2026 second-round picks via Utah are also going to Minnesota. And Utah is also getting a Lakers 2027 pick, lightly protected numbers 1 through 4 is what I have listed as of right now. It could change as far as the slight tweaking as far as the trade, because they still have yet to make the trade call as of this point in time. But that's what we have so far in this live emergency broadcast of the Lakers Fast Break. And here today to talk about what's going on with this trade, 2 great co-hosts indeed. First up, I'm going to go ahead and see, because he looks like he's having some internet slowdown. I want to make sure he's doing okay. It is Laker Tom. Laker Tom, you're probably going about 15 frames per second. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound good. You're not looking great, but you sound good. tell us your thoughts on the trade, because I know you're tricky internet, so we'll have you go first.
I'm real happy with the trade. I think it was. I thought even that if we got Conley, that would be fine. We needed to have a point guard, and I think that to get away with it is a one-pick trade, and to be able to get 3 players who are young, 3 players who are bigger. We've got size, we've got shooting now. Also, you're looking at 2 guys who shoot 8 and 6 threes a game now in your backcourt. So you've got a 6'4" backcourt now all of a sudden. So I think that it's a great trade, and I think the real genius move of the trade was to be able to get out of Conley and replace him with D'Lo. D'Lo shooting 39% from 3, 8 of them a game rather. 6 a game, excuse me. And he's exactly what we need in a bigger guard. I think that, he and Beasley are not great defenders. So it's not a move that's going to really help us in that way, but they're both 3 inches taller than the pair of 6'1" guards that we put out there for those mini lineups. And Vanderbilt shooting 46% from 3, just 1 a game. So it's not like he's a volume 3-point shooter, but he's a good defender. He's mostly playing power forward and a little bit of center. So he's more of a 4-5 rather than a 3-4, which still leaves us really weak, and we really need a good 3-4 because even Rui is really a 4-5 in a sense. So we've strengthened our guard position. We've strengthened our 4 and 5, our front court position. Man, it would be perfect if we could go out there and get us somebody to play the 3 who could really put some points in there. And if that guy could really be a defender, that would be absolutely the best, perfect match for us. But Pelinka's 2 out of 2. He's got to be 3 out of 3, though, because I think there has to be another trade tied with this trade.
Absolutely.
And that's the big question. Will he pony up that extra pick?
After what we said,
use that with Walker and Beverly.
Now, after what we saw last night, unfortunately, the Lakers do need a lot of help, and we see some of it today. The thing, though, is, and I'm going to ask this with Joe here, who's here on the show. He is the man behind Ox1947 at LakersBall.com and also Simblades.com. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, how much do you think, outside of obviously needing a change, do you think it was more the loss last night, the terrible defense, or was it the argument with Darvin Ham and Russell Westbrook at halftime that may have maybe expedited this trade a little bit more?
The template of this trade had been rumored a few days ago. I don't think last night's argument was.
You just think it's a matter of convenience.
I think it's a coincidence that Darvin Ham finally blew a gasket. Now, the cynic in me thinks Darvin Ham may have gotten word from Rob that Russ was going to be gone, and then now he ponied up and said, "What do I got to lose?"
or maybe Russ had that attitude that tonight's my last night in the Laker uniform. So
could be, but we're still trying to figure out what happened with Anthony Davis. That's really the only concern I've had since yesterday. The fact that he seemed disconnected for whatever reason. I've seen him be unmotivated. I used that word last night on the show, but he looked disconnected when you start seeing footage of how he looked on the sidelines and kind of that situation. But this is a addition by subtraction in so many ways. And we do get younger. We have 3 guys now that are 26, 24, and 23. So, and one of them shoots just under 40% from 3, can handle the ball, is 6'4", and has had a pretty darn good season relative to the amount of minutes he's played.
Career season, really.
Yes, and Minnesota was always known as the Siberia of the NBA. I like to call New Orleans the Siberia of the NBA now, but before them, it was Minnesota. And I'm sure if D'Angelo was putting up the numbers he's been putting up this year in New York, LA, heck, even in Miami, I think there'd be a little bit more buzz around him. This is exactly who you want. If we get that player that's been playing, that's the guy you want. You have a tall guard who can handle the ball, who can shoot. So now I want you guys to imagine something here. Imagine this. AD at the block, LeBron at the top of the key, controlling the offense, and then LeBron going to the hole. The only difference now is if Darvin Ham was stubborn to play those, AD and LeBron with Westbrook, imagine now switching Westbrook to D'Angelo Russell. And now when you collapse on the LeBron and have to worry about AD doing a putback, now you have an open D'Angelo Russell.
Volume 3-point shooter.
Correct. And you have a guy who played for the Lakers for 2 years. He understands what we're about here. That part is really cool. What's going to be interesting to see is how well Beasley and Vanderbilt are going to play in a run and gun game now.
Do you think Beasley and Russell's our new starting guards? I'm
Depends on the next trade.
I would.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, you guys are both correct. I am satisfied if nothing else happens. This is the best deal you could get. I think the biggest shock in this trade is that the Lakers, other than Vanderbilt's $4 million next year, they got what they wanted. They didn't want any money
for just
beyond,
one pick. For just
right?
one pick.
And that one pick, we've been saying we needed that protected.
And they got rid of some dead money in JTA and Damian Jones.
That was nice. That was a great.
That was a nice.
Yes, set that out. I love that one.
Absolutely.
Here, have some filler.
No, what it was right. is it's like you got a garage sale.
16 people. We were all figuring out what the only thing it does is that it does eliminate the need to make another trade.
It's like when you're at a garage when you do a garage sale and you have an item that's been there the whole 4 hours. And then somebody comes in and says, "Give me that," and you know what? I'll take this at the end. If you can give it to me for $5, and it was $10 the whole day, right. And then you're like, yeah, here, now we're done with.
So you just think it's a coincidence, guys, that this argument happened with during halftime of last night's game.
Yeah,
they obviously embarrassed themselves on national TV during LeBron's record-breaking performance with terrible defense, and then we do this trade the next day.
No, but I think the way the team played last night and these incidents, all of these you had a feeling last night that this team had lost it. The way that AD was unconnected, Russ's little turmoil there, the fact that we lost the game, that we lost sight of what was really more important in the real true world of hard knocks. We needed to win that game badly, and we blew it. Now I think hopefully that was like maybe the bottom, that we bounced our butts off of the bottom and now we're slowly rising up with some good trade.
We've been saying that quite a bit over the course of 2 seasons, Tom.
Yeah, well, we've been on the bottom. Ideally, we shouldn't be anywhere near where we have to worry about hitting the bottom, but you know where we are. But what's interesting about the trade though is that the Timberwolves coming into the deal, because this was really a Jazz-Lakers trade that had, like Joe had said, had been laid out for a week and a half. I published shots from that trade 3 or 4 times. But what's different about it is all of a sudden the idea that maybe Conley can help Gobert. Let's bring a guy in that could really maybe do something with this whole Gobert situation so that it's not the disaster trade that it is, And I think that was a big part of it. They gave up on. They were talking extension with D'Lo, and then look at their record. They're like 29-27 after, being a championship team supposedly. So I think that's a big part of it. And it'll be interesting to see. I wonder what the game is on right now, isn't it? 6:00.
Yeah. Just about going on in a couple minutes now.
I hope they have enough players to play the game.
Oh, I'm sure they'll manage. Remember, they got the 2 ways. That's what the benefit of the 17 players with the 2 ways that you can bring up pretty much in an instant or have them on standby. You can, because they can play 30 to 40 games, I think, during the course of the season. I think that's what they're eligible for before you have to turn it into a regular contract as far as the 2 ways concerned. So I think those players, the team should be able to field at least 7 or 8 as far as the rotation on both sides. So,
are you ready to apologize to Rob and Jeannie yet?
Or no, not even close.
I need to see the third trade.
I need to see them at the end of the season where they stand. That's what I need to see before I start apologizing. I mean, you get some rotation players.
Rob has done a good job on these 2 trades, though.
It's okay. They're okay trades. They check some of the boxes, not all the boxes. Obviously, the perimeter defense is still of great concern, as we saw last night, and this doesn't really help in the fact that with Russell being a terrible defender, I think that's something that's still going to be an issue. But there are some things that it does check off as far as shooting. Now LeBron has better shooting, but we'll see. I'm not going to go ahead and apologize to Jeannie or Rob until we see the end result at the end of the season. Then we'll make sure if we can or cannot go ahead and do that. So we'll see. Sean Grice is here. He finally did get out of Toronto traffic. It's the madman from Toronto. He actually was in Toronto traffic as the trade was happening. It is Sean Grice, the Magic Man. The irony of that. Oh, so great. But great to have you here, my friend. You hear everybody going back and forth. What a great trade. It's an okay trade. I think it fills some needs. Rotation players. It does increase the likelihood that the Lakers might actually start making a run towards a plan. I mean, they set themselves a pretty far distance behind to go ahead and make up for a lot of time. And there's not much time left to do so. We'll see. This could do it. This could get them in the play-in mix. But your thoughts on the trade for D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, and Malik Beasley coming to the Lakers?
Yeah, Gerald, you're right. It checks a few boxes.
Some of the boxes.
Some, yeah, not most, and definitely not all. I just wrote a comment there on stuck in Toronto traffic on the Gardner, and F you to Doug Ford and the whole Ontario government for the mess that they've created. But that I digress, sir. It feels like the surgery was a success, but the patient's still gonna die.
Sean, I'm waiting for the day that we could do Jetsons or Star Wars, like with flying cars. I think that'd probably be better.
Yeah, no, probably just before.
I'll be dead. That's
yeah, okay. So will I. So will Joe, and so will Tom. We'll all be dead.
I'll be dead before all of you. So
he's George Jetson. Okay, getting back.
They've been talking about that for 40 years. It hasn't changed.
Anyway,
the Clippers, if he's released.
Yeah, just to be perfectly blunt here, I feel like, the surgery is a success, but the patient's still going to die. I think we've bled out too much, Gerald, especially,
You just think we've given up too much ground.
Yes, that's the issue. I think this trade will give them a shot in the arm. I think potentially, they could go maybe a little bit of a run, but I think that the problem is just there's not enough runway left. They've lost too many games at this point. There's too much ground to make up. You made a very adroit point the other night, Gerald, that, it's like the top 6 is out. Like it's lights out there. So you have to play for the plan. And, Minnesota is so confident they'll probably be in the plan that they made this trade.
One of the things I do want to ask, though, is, Sean, that seems to be the feeling. There's 2. It's that one, actually, the comment was made that it should have been done 3 weeks ago. I agree. If it had this been done 3 weeks ago, maybe I feel a bit better about the trade. I still feel pretty good about it. And the reason why is the second reason is because Russell Westbrook and the enigma. I think I started off the first comments I ever made on it as far as when he got traded to the Lakers. I compared it to the colonoscopy that I got. So I think that's the case. Yeah, if you remember that episode, you can look back at it because I had and I think I rated the colonoscopy better. than the Russell Westbrook trade. But be that as it may, the enigma that is Russell Westbrook is now gone, because I thought it was, I was very adamant that this was a bad trade from the get-go. And I don't want to say I was right. I don't want to say you were right, because I think you were adamant about it too. Tom was kind of, let's wait and see. If I think that's the case, nobody actually really truly loved it, but for all those that hated it, I think we were justified today with the final straw that he's now gone and out of a Lakers uniform.
Yeah, Gerald, absolutely, 100%. You know, I'll give you your flowers. Here you go.
I'll take them. In this case, I will take them.
Yeah, it's a big bouquet, by the way, because you were adamant from the get-go, from the hop. I
drove, and I think that was the day I drove back like 300 miles too, as far as.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
so you had a lot of time.
LA.
You had a lot of time to think about this impending iceberg we were headed towards.
Well, I think everybody on the panel, Blue, did not have the greatest of opinions. I'd have to go back and look at the tapes, but over the course of time,
I didn't.
Even if they said they loved the trade at the time, they soon realized, as soon as they saw the product out there and how Russell Westbrook was as a fit, they soon came to the realization that all of us on the panel said this was not going to work out.
Yeah, Gerald,
we needed shooting, man. I mean,
hold on, Tom. LeBron said that that after the first couple of practices, he knew it wasn't going to work. And, what when you play together in an all-star game, or you played together on the Olympic team and you're practicing together, that's a completely different animal than league play on a team, where you have to be willing to sacrifice and not pout about your role. And that's what a team is. It's, some people on a team think they're, ready to ascend and they deserve more responsibility. And a lot of times, Gerald, it's like Icarus, where, you just fly too close to the sun and those wings go on fire and you're in the drink. So, but sometimes people really do ascend if you give them more responsibility, more accountability. It happened to Magic Johnson, it happened to Isaiah Thomas, it happened to Tony Parker, just as a few examples. But with Russell Westbrook, man, I mean, like you said, Gerald, from the giddy up, it's not a good fit. About 3/4 of his athleticism are gone. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm guessing, and I'm sure the panel will back me up here, he's missed at least more than 60% of his rim attempts, especially on driving layups. I mean, they just don't go in for him anymore.
And it's funny. It's not his athleticism either, because every game.
Oh, he can still get to the cup. He just can't finish, Tom. He just can't finish.
He just can't finish is exactly right, because he still gets to the rim like nobody else in the league, man. I mean,
but it's difficult. It's difficult when you don't finish. You know that, sir. It's difficult when you can't finish.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it's just it's what turns. It's like we've talked about it so many times. It's the blown layup that turns into a 5-point play.
No, that's exactly it. It's almost as if you've blown a tire, and instead of going off the shoulder, you're going back into the
traffic. Yeah. Right. Good. That's a great analogy. Except we got 2 blown tires, and we need to get rid of the second tire.
Oh man!
Seriously, think about this. What I saw last night from everybody on the Lakers, and even the last 2 games, was a team that had overachieved to hang in where they are, but they just didn't have the talent, and they were a lost team, and they needed a fresh start. And a fresh start means new people, and so I'm glad this trade is bringing in 3 new people. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see a couple, 2 or 3 or 4 more people come in too. Yeah, I'm glad we moved some players. We still have to get rid of Beverly, I think, and we still have
Deadwood. So we've gotten rid of, and it's no disrespect. I don't mean it disrespectfully to him, but that's just the correct term for what's going on here.
We
And
just
Pat
can't
Bev
waste. We
is
just
more-
can't waste another guy like
No,
Malik Monk.
Pat Bev is more dead wood, and you need to put that in the wood chipper too.
Well, let me ask this to Joe because I want to get him involved as well. Joe, Miles Turner seems to be the name that's right now hot on the chat, but I think people are forgetting that his current salary for this year was reconstructed. Is he making about 30 for this year as opposed to the regular 17 to 19 he was making before?
And his number goes down significantly in the next 2 years.
But this year it's around 30. So the Lakers don't
it's
really
35.
have
It's 35 and then it goes down to 20 again next year.
Okay.
But they also have cap space.
So
they can absorb, they can take
less.
But they probably want more than one first round pick for him, which is all the Lakers have.
If they were going to do a trade, which they're not, because Indiana's not trading with the Lakers until I see it. You would need a 3-team trade. You would need to have the third team send Indiana an unprotected pick. The Lakers would have to send the 29th pick unprotected. And I guess Lonnie Walker and Beverly.
Yeah.
I would do that trade in a heartbeat. If you make that trade, if Indiana turns into Danny Ainge in this deal, which a lot of people in Utah right now are not very happy, which is a good sign. That means Danny Ainge made a deal that actually he didn't win.
I think Paul, our regular Utah, actually a person in the chat would probably not be happy right about now.
Yes,
it's probably not.
But I believe Utah
might. Danny's collected almost as many first round picks now.
This may have been a favor to Minnesota.
Yep.
This may have been this was probably not I mean, still, guys, the Utah's getting a 5 at the very least, a 5 pick, a top 5, a 5th or more pick in this deal in 27, and that there's maybe a chance that that's very good that it's going to happen. Okay,
or it could be in the 20s.
Again, let's hope, right? And at some point, these relationships become important. People, that's why we keep talking about this. The relationship that Minnesota has with Utah helped in this deal. The Lakers got 3 young, really young. One is a really good defender. One is a really good offensive player.
Let's just say under 30. Let's just say under 30.
They're not under 30. They're almost under 25, a lot of them.
Under 25.
How old is D'Angelo? How old is
26.
26.
It's 26, 24, and 23.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. What does that mean?
Size, age.
We're talking about guys that can run up and down the court. What did the Lakers do really well, Gerald? What are you always yelling at while we're playing? Transition. Right?
Well,
merchandising.
Push the ball up. Can D'Angelo push the ball up like Russell Westbrook?
We don't need to. We need D'Angelo.
You know what? You know what he can't. You know what he can do that Russell Westbrook can't. He can make transition threes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
he can shoot the ball.
True.
Before Sean got on here, we explained why. The difference between having a defense collapse on LeBron and trying to guard AD from the putbacks is now going to be a little bit more difficult if D'Angelo is in the corner. That's the difference.
Beasley likes to chuck up threes.
And don't forget, guys,
he can get hot though, Gerald.
D'Angelo's averaged 7 and 8 threes per game the last 2 years. Beasley has averaged 6 and 7 threes per game the last 2 years.
Oh yeah, don't ask.
You got 2 guys who are going to rain threes, and that's the big difference because you got a lot of guys like Austin Reeves or Lonnie Walker who shoot 3 or 4 threes in a game and make 1 or 2 of them, and they shoot 38-40%, but they don't take enough shots to make a difference. When you got a guy who's taking 8 shots a game and he makes 3 or 4 threes, that's 9 or 12 points. That's a big difference maker. So those are the guys that you don't leave alone in the corner. They have gravity. They attract that defender and make sure he can't help out. So you put Beasley in one corner and you put D'Lo in the other corner, and the other 3 guys are playing 3-on-3. That's the difference in the game.
The question I have, though, is was it you, Tom, or was it you, Joe, that said that LeBron had said after the first couple practices he realized it wasn't going to work with Russ?
I mean,
Someone of you guys said it right here.
I don't
did.
know. I don't know
I
the
did.
validity of that.
Oh, you
Ron
did?
did.
Okay.
Yes.
If that's the case, why don't after a couple practices you go to Rob and say, you got to trade this guy. You got to trade this guy again.
He
Well,
couldn't
why
because
didn't you say
LeBron.
at dinner? Why don't we get together, guys, for a couple of days? See how this works out.
Let's be frank about why this happened and what it's a byproduct of. I thought I explained it the other night, but I guess I wasn't.
Oh, no, you did. I just like bringing these things up for conversation.
Well, it's just the fact that he's a universe in and of himself, and when he comes into your organization, his universe is bigger than yours, and that's what's happened.
I imagine BTS is like
You guys want to hear an interesting stat? The last 10 days.
and Coldplay.
Coldplay, they
Go
suck.
ahead, Joe.
D'Angelo Russell has hit 7, 7, and 6 3-pointers in this last week in 3 games. Okay. That is, you're talking about just in 3-pointers.
That's 3-point gravity for you.
18
That's
points,
what gives you
21
3-point
points.
gravity.
Yes. You're talking about just in 3-point shots. This guy.
Did we lose you there?
No,
Did we
I'm
lose you there,
sorry.
Joe?
I had audio just pop up out of nowhere for no reason. Anytime I'm on ESPN, it plays that stupid video on the side 10 minutes after I log into it.
You would hate it.
We are looking at parts of a puzzle that fit. Don't forget, Vanderbilt can play defense and
This
play
is true.
well. That's probably why Utah is angry right now.
He doesn't shoot anything on the outside really for you.
That's fine.
offensively,
That's
46%.
fine.
He plays
46% from 3.
Well,
this year.
there's a reason why they got rid of him because they know that with Vanderbilt, he's known more as a defensive player.
That's fine.
Offensively,
Hey, look, we can't get. Look, if we could get 40% 3-point shooters in one trade, 3 of them, then that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
And he is, according to Zangerstein, as what we've noted as well here on the show, he is a wing defender. Yes, I agree with you there. I'm just throwing that out as far as conversation.
He's not really a wing defender because
He can defend the wing.
He can
He's
defend
not a
the
wing
wing.
he can
defender.
defend the wing
He
because
can
he's
defend
got
the wing.
size, but he doesn't have the speed. He's a power forward, and he plays.
Well,
30
you know
by himself.
Good
what he
rebounder.
does-
Excellent
what he
rebounder.
does
Played
do?
0 minutes at the 3 in the last 2 years. 0.
See,
We still need a 3. We still need a 3.
Go ahead, Sean.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, one of the reasons why the Jazz could play Walker Kessler and Vanderbilt together was because Kessler is a threat always to shoot the 3. Even though
Well, the thing is, though, let me ask you this, though. D'Angelo Russell, I've always liked him as a player, but I realize his extreme limitations on the defensive side, which has
correct,
probably cost him his roles in Brooklyn, the Lakers because of a trade issue, but Brooklyn, Golden State, and now Minnesota. There are reasons why he's been traded or left from those teams. It's not that he's burned these bridges like Kyrie or anything like that, or Russell Westbrook or anything like that. It's just that there are flaws in his game that teams have not been able to overcome or feel that they wanted to overcome to accentuate his strengths. The Lakers have got to find a way to go ahead and overcome the whatever things that he has flaws in his game and overcome to utilize his strengths and be able to accentuate that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Everybody's excited about it. I think it adds more size. I like it, more shooting.
sure.
Obviously those great things, but there are reasons why he is now on his this. If you include the Lakers twice, it's his 5th team in the NBA.
Yes, Gerald, he's traveled quite a bit.
I'm
so
giving
far.
both sides. That's why.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and but you know what, Gerald? What this comes down to is, I can't disagree with anything any of the panelists have said so far. Joe is correct about the youth and the continuity, and Tom is correct about the shooting and the ability to spread the floor. And Gerald, you've played the devil's advocate, and explained why this may be disadvantageous from a
I actually
defensive
like the
point
trade.
of view.
Just to
The
put
trade
on,
is great, man.
I
Come on.
think the trade is great
It
too.
is a
I
great trade.
think
You'll-
it's too little, too late.
Yeah,
by the
that
way, Jared
could be. It
Vanderbilt,
could be.
to
The better
clarify,
trade would have
Jared
been.
This year, I'm
Let me
just talking
clarify
about
something
this
here, though.
year.
Tom was
I don't
incorrect
mean
on
in the
something.
future.
Here's
Tom was
why
incorrect
we
on
don't know. Here's why we don't know that. We knew that last night, but here's where things change. We are looking at the standings at the moment. The Lakers are 2 games out of the 10th seed, which is the last play-in spot.
Yes.
They are 4 games off of the 6th seed. And
What
to
about
show
the
you
8th seed?
the 6th seed, not the 8th.
But
Because
the 8 might be really where we might have to be.
you're talking about 27 games now where you have a chance to make up 2 games, which isn't too insurmountable, right? But the problem right now in Golden State, which has the 7, is I don't think Curry's going to be right the rest of the year. They're going to have a problem. New Orleans Pelicans, before this trade happened, we infused some kind of gamma ray into them, and they started winning everything. Hopefully they come down.
Everybody does that after
Hopefully the
they-
Hulk comes back down to David Banner. Minnesota Timberwolves and Utah Jazz are probably now looking at maybe not being too aggressive and going all the way right now. Maybe they're still going to play to win, but maybe not as important. So the Lakers have a chance here if they can gel quickly to make a run. But I'll feel a lot better if they can get rid of Beverly and get one more guy. Now, they got 3, and I said that at the beginning. They can get 2 or 3 guys that have some value in this particular offense, which they did. They got a good defender, they got a good shooter, and they got a guy that kind of does a little bit of both.
Yes.
Go ahead and see if you can get something for Beverly and maybe Lonnie Walker, even though I do like Walker's athleticism, but I know you got to put the contracts together a certain way. I'm just amazed that they got rid of the dead weight on top of everything. You know, those could be roster spots now that might be your favorite word, guys, precursor to being able to get more in this next trade as well, not just a 1-for-1.
Yeah, what I just didn't want to see is that tweet coming from Woj saying that the Lakers have decided to focus on the buyout market. Like we've seen the last 2 years.
I just want to clarify, though, something that Tom
Mhm.
said incorrectly. And I also want to clarify for the audience. Jared Vanderbilt is 19 of 57 on the year from 3 at 33%, according to ESPN stats right now. So he is not what you would call.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the difference in that, but I saw some other stats that said he was at 46%.
Maybe
It's-
that's
his
from the
overall
corner.
is 19 of
shots.
his overall is he doesn't take many threes. He doesn't
No.
take many threes, and he doesn't make many.
And he shoots like 50% from the free throw line. So it's, he's one
Yeah,
of those guys.
it's neither here nor there. Actually, right now he's at 65%, almost 66% from the free throw line.
One of the things that has been missed on this whole trade, and it's one of the most important things about the trade, is that we are getting back for Russ's $47 million. We're getting back $47 million in contracts. And while 31 of it is in Russell's hands, which is an expiring contract, you have to look at the history of where D'Angelo Russell has gone and what has happened to him in those situations. Starting with the trade from the Lakers to the Nets, and then the Nets trade. He's been brought aboard for one reason: Kyrie Irving. He's the sign and trade for Kyrie Irving because he's in the same situation as Kyrie is. He wants more than he's going to be able to get in free agency, so he needs a sign and trade. And that's exactly what the Warriors did with him. The Warriors took him because they knew, even though he didn't fit with Steph, they knew at some point in time they could cash him in, and they cashed him in. And we'll probably do the same thing. We don't, unless D'Angelo has a sensational season and there is no superstar available this summer. The odds are that he's going to be traded. So we needed to, this makes it possible that they may keep this other pick because they'll have 2 picks come draft day. And they'll also have tradable contracts, which are really good. I mean, that's the one thing that has kept the Jazz in everybody's conversation, because they got 4 or 5. I might even trade Beverly and into that situation and give him to the other team and go after Clarkson. Let's add Clarkson. Let's add.
How about this, Tom? Though, what does Richardson make from the Spurs?
Well, if you can get Richardson for a second-round pick, Gerald, I'd sure go for him.
Or for one of the salaries, like
we're getting kind of low on second-round picks, I must tell you.
I know we're getting kind of low on everything.
You can
we can buy those. As we did this year, we can buy into those.
Yeah, but Gerald, again,
Richardson makes $12 million.
He makes
right
$12 million.
A certain salary of a certain person. Go ahead.
We're going back again to this stupid, goddamn, archaic salary cap that the NBA has decided to not amend at all, where you can't trade consecutive first-round picks because of an asshole named Ted Stepien who owned the Cavs, and he traded basically James Worthy to the Lakers' door. And he also traded a bunch of other great players I could go into.
He's also the rule why you can't trade.
We love him in LA. We love him.
Of course, for that very reason. But
traded
yes.
We'll give you our 2045 first round draft. Unprotected.
But anyway, he's the reason why you can't trade consecutive first round picks. And I think that's bully, Gerald. I think that's really bully, because I think they need to amend that rule for specific instances. For example, you don't have an amnesty anymore. So if I can attach consecutive first-round picks to a contract that a team is willing to absorb, why not? Why the hell not? It doesn't make any sense, but I digress. I was just going to say, so Gerald, we have a game coming up against the Bucks. How do you feel about that one?
Well, I feel that the Lakers play the Bucks well. So, especially after the embarrassing, performance on Tuesday, they better start getting themselves together. Plus, they should be energized with the trade. So, I'm sure Milwaukee will probably do a trade before the trade deadline, so they may feel the same way as well. But I really think, though, that the Lakers should be energized by this trade. I think Rob is doing what he can. Didn't say it's great. We'll see what the results are. I like the trade, but
we're going to find out in the first 10 minutes, because the energy of this team is completely changed with him off the.
The energy has changed, and that's what's most important.
Mm-hmm.
How is this going to affect the on-court product going?
How's it going to affect Anthony Davis is the most important thing, because if Anthony Davis
correct, Tom.
If it is an MVP AD, we don't have a chance in hell.
Right. We live and die on the hill of AD on the defensive end. Now, is he willing to get down in the dirt like he did, a couple of years ago? But that was
a couple months ago, man.
That was a different situation. He didn't have to think about maybe some of the flaws that KCP or Kuzma or Caruso had defensively, because they played a system in which he was basically the goalie and they were able to control the perimeter around him. They can't really do that right now. D'Angelo Russell is, he's a leaky defender. He doesn't spout anymore. He doesn't get beat really, really bad as he used to, but he does leak a lot. And it's a potential problem. AD has to make up for him. I think Vanderbilt helps AD significantly. It's interesting. I think now maybe you could play Vanderbilt and Thomas Bryant together for a few minutes if you really need to spell Anthony Davis, because the length there is significant. And Vanderbilt does have the height to be a rim deterrent, where Thomas Bryant doesn't.
Yeah, it's funny. Vanderbilt's staff
has verticality.
He has 1 steal a game and 0.4 of a block, so he's really more of an active. They could also start Reeves at shooting guard. I mean, if you want defense, and then the other thing is that if you have somebody like Beverly available, I still love the idea of getting a hold of Nerlens Noel and making sure you've got a rim protector on the court for 48 minutes a game.
Make sure you got the hot dogs in the break room ready, as far as in the press room. So got to make sure that they're ready for him. That's an inside joke there for the NBA. I guess knowledgeable out there on that, but I don't know if Nerlens Noel would do it for me. I think would lean somewhere else as far as defensive center is concerned. But the one thing I do want to ask you guys before we head on out, I think we'll probably stay online to continue our thoughts because you guys are going crazy here in the chat. But before we head on out, want to go ahead and ask, will Russell Westbrook, the trade for Russell Westbrook, go down in Lakers history? I almost feel like going back to Lakers history 101 and Lakers Fast Break University on this. Will the Russell Westbrook trade go down as the worst trade in Lakers history? I'll start off with Joe.
We will know that in 2 months. If the Lakers go on a run and win 20 of the next 27 games, yes, it'll be 100%.
Which trade are you talking about? You're talking about the original trade or
the original one that caused us all
okay.
pain and doom for almost 2 seasons? Go ahead, Tom. What's your thoughts?
Well, obviously, it's the worst trade I can imagine.
Okay. And Sean, do you think this is the worst trade that the Lakers ever did?
By far, there's not even a close second.
Oh my gosh, he didn't even hesitate. Well, you know my thoughts when I compared it that day to a colonoscopy, so I think you already know what my answer is.
Oh wow, yeah, that was very vivid, Gerald.
Yes, I there was no other way for me to describe it, so I'll leave it at that. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Thanks so much for on the fly on an emergency Lakers Fast Break podcast. Truly appreciate everybody watching, listening. Got some great numbers today so far, so we cannot thank you enough for stopping by. The chat has been off the charts from Sovereign, Blue Magic, CeeLo. Hey, CeeLo, great to have you here. Why didn't they want Conley? I think Conley right now,
Age and size.
Yeah, age, size, but also he's just not
And
a
second
fit
year of
with
his
what
contract.
the Lakers want to do. I just think that he's probably a better fit on a team that maybe is a little bit closer, to what they think would be a championship run. Although him on Minnesota, I don't think is there yet. I think he brings, though, maybe some maturity that they need. I don't think the Lakers need, that much maturity when you have LeBron, AD, and some real veterans on the roster. You need youth and shooting, and they did get a little bit of that today in this trade. So that I think was most important. But for Minnesota, they get themselves a more seasoned veteran to maybe get that group in Minnesota that seems to be all over the place a little bit more straightened out on the straight narrative. He's been having a pretty decent season for Utah. He seems to be helping with that young core, so maybe he'll do the same for Minnesota. But yeah, guys, I think this is so far. I like what I saw with the trade. Rob is getting, maybe he can get out of the doghouse now a little bit, but whether or not
one more trade.
Yeah, one more trade, and we'll see what happens at the end of the season. We'll see the fallout from this. Will the Lakers go ahead and use this momentum? Will they be able to, with this roster, go forward and maybe another tweak or two, maybe go forward and be able to make a strong run here for the rest of the season? I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that's the case. I mean, starting out 25-30, it's almost like starting behind the 8 ball. But
we have an easy schedule, supposedly the easiest schedule.
Starting with Milwaukee ain't so easy, but
after Milwaukee,
I know they've got some games against Golden State. I think they play 3 times in the next dozen or so games. A lot of good stuff on the way with Curry out of the game and whatnot. But guys, it's been a great time so far talking about this. But before we head on out, I mean, what do they still need to do? We've talked a little bit about that. Joe, if you're back in the GM's chair, which looks like you're sitting back on right now, and I'm going to ask this of Tom and Sean here in a minute, who are you targeting with Walker, with Beverly, and with a first-round pick still left, and maybe a second-rounder or 2? I think you only have 1 or 2 left. So who would you target with whatever you have left of your assets?
You have 2 options here. Let's say what would be realistic, let's say. 2 types of trades. 2 for the same player. Pat Bev, Max Christie, and a second-round pick to Toronto for Gary Trent Jr. or a protected first Pat Bev for Gary Trent Jr.
There you go. You think that Toronto would go for it? Because I'm sure he's going to be.
They
hot
have to
name.
get rid of one of those guys. It doesn't
He's the one they're
matter.
going to trade. He's the one they're going to trade before Fred.
Yeah, I think Van Fleet. I don't know. There's some lineage there. He's a champion there. I would pick Trent. I'm telling you, Trent Jr. would be. It would be that. Just imagine him and D'Angelo on the corners now.
He's an
Nothing really
underrated,
to help you in the
he's an
size.
underrated defender too.
I don't care about size right now. Right now, I'm
Okay.
thinking about guys that can play ball. We're already competing in a lot of these games with the crappy size and the horrible
Shooting.
rotations, right? And shooting. Now imagine we still have the same size guys, but they can actually freaking shoot. It changes the whole dynamic of the game. Look, you take KCP, you take Kuzma, and you take Caruso, and you separate all of them into their own world. They're marginal players. You put them on the Lakers in 2020, and they were super glue. That's what we're going to find out about these guys. Should there be another trade, which I hope there is. Should we get one more player of impact, we are going to see how good LeBron, Darvin Ham, and AD are now. Because Rob is essentially bringing back what we had in 2021 before AD went down in Phoenix.
I'd like to keep Schroeder. I know that's the name that's being tossed about. We may have to go ahead and let him go as part of the package.
He's a backup point guard.
Yeah,
No, Schroeder's good. Schroeder's good.
I know.
good.
Well, hold on. I was going to say I would like to see him stay. I mean, it's just a real possibility that another team might want him now, which is kind of funny because this time last year nobody wanted him. But I would like to see him stay somewhere in the rotation as, coming off the bench type deal. That's my personal preference.
Replaces Russ on the bench.
Yeah,
He replaces Russ
We
on
will.
the bench.
I'm hoping that that's the case.
I will never have to endure another minute of Lakers basketball having to watch Russell Westbrook, Dennis Schroeder, and Pat Beverly play defense together.
Yeah.
That was Gerald. That was like 1,000. I'm a diabetic. That was like 1,000 needles in my back as a basketball fan, having to endure that over and over again. And
So let me ask you this, Sean, and then I'll close out with Tom. If you're sitting in that nice, comfy office I made a thumbnail of the other day in Rob's office, who are you making the call to, and what player are you or players are you trying to get back?
Yeah, that's interesting. Obviously, what Joe was kind of projecting and alluding to was obviously logical and sensible. That's a very reasonable offer, and we'll see. I know, like everybody thinks that you can basically deal with the Raptors. If you paid attention to local media here over his tenure, it's very difficult to negotiate with him. He is very hard-lined. He knows
He wants to win every deal.
Yes, he does, and he almost does.
He usually does.
Yes, he usually does. He usually comes out the win. Go ahead, Joe.
This officially puts Utah in Wembanyama sweepstakes. I think that's what they're trying to do now.
Yeah,
I think that's
That's
smart.
one less.
Ask me the question now.
That's one less team now we got to deal with
That's a
to
perfect
get to the,
lead.
I will.
the play-in.
I will.
mm-hmm.
I think that's
Agreed.
actually smart for Utah because they're a middling 500 team, but they've got a lot of promise. They've got, like Tom said, 15,000 picks. I know, Z, you said
Lakers have three second round
19 unprotected pricks or 19 first round
pricks. Yeah, you're
this
right.
one's
Pricks.
lightly protected. So, yeah. That's,
You said it right the first time.
what? No,
You
I
said it
almost
right the
said it.
first time.
No, I didn't.
That was a
we have-
Gerald. That was a
Okay.
Freudian slip, Gerald. That was a Freudian
All right,
slip.
We have three usable second round picks to trade, and obviously the 29th first round pick. Rob, I tell you what, I doubted you, and I had every right to doubt you. But if you do one more trade after what you did right now, one more trade that gets us another really good player to get rid of cameraman, I will bow down.
Tom, last call for you. If you're sitting in that GM's chair, obviously you had your share of trades you've already shown at Laker Tom on Twitter and also Lakerholics.com. Where are you leaning towards as far as a player to deal with whatever little assets we have left?
I would probably make the first shot at the same one that Joe did. I think Gary Trent Jr. can be had. And I think he would be perfect fit for the Lakers. If I couldn't get him, I would be tempted to keep the pick. And I would be tempted to go to the and try to make a trade for I still like the idea of having a backup center who can protect the rim. I think that is so critically important to the defense of this team. So I like the idea of going after Nerlens Noel and the other player that is making around the same amount. So Noel makes 9, and there's another guy 9, Alec Burks. Those are the two guys I'd go for. I'd use Beverly and Walker to get those two guys. You get a backup shooting guard who's really good, shoots 40%. You got another 40% volume shooter. And you add a center who basically, when he filled in for the Pistons for 3 starts, was averaging 2.5 blocks and 1.5 steals per game.
And to Pelinka's credit, I got to give him credit here. He at least negotiated a protected pick. It is 1-4, but at least he negotiated that.
But that switch from Conley to D'Lo
swaps
was the genius part of the move.
Deferred. No, you negotiate a protected pick in case the glass has to break.
Well, but also 29 is the one you protect because you can't roll it over to 30 because it's too early.
Here's the other thing is if it is a 4 pick or above, it goes to a second round pick for Utah. So they get something. It's just
that's not nothing. But at least he negotiated it. So gotta give him credit. We're critical.
So Rob hasn't come out and said we're done, right?
I didn't hear anything.
I hope not. I certainly hope not. Again, the Lakers do need, I think, to make one more trade or 2 trades, whatever. They need to get 1 or 2 more players in there, I think, still. We talked about this before as far as the Lakers needing to improve numbers 3 through 17 on the roster. They do need to go ahead and bulk that up. And they did take a good step in doing that today. I will admit that I'm impressed with the fact that he was able to do it with a lightly protected first-round pick. He didn't go all the way unprotected. The fact is that the Lakers, if something were to really go off the rails in 27, they could still look towards that, as far as being
we could still
possible,
tank.
Yeah.
We can still tank.
Or we decide to tank for whatever reason at that point in time. But, that's out in the future. So
let me ask you a question, Tom. Let me ask you a question. Would you trade that 2029 pick for Jakob Poeltl?
No.
Another guy.
Wait just a second, because there is one aspect about that is very interesting, and that is that there is a team out there who really, really, really wants Jakob Poeltl, and it's the Toronto Raptors.
Exactly.
They traded him, and they'd like him back.
They want him back.
So you notice I've always felt that they were the team to add on, and hopefully.
That might be interesting to them. Yeah. That might be interesting to them.
It was the only thing that interested me about the Spurs. I didn't like anything. I didn't want any of the guys.
No, see, Tom, that's interesting because, then you pit those two against one another.
You know what, Sean? You just brought something to light, though. Considering the fact that he makes the same amount of money as Nerlens Noel, I'm going to change my previous answer. I would try to get Pirtle, and I'd take Pirtle and Richardson, for example, without giving him a first-round pick. Give him those 3 second-round picks or something like that.
I think they might do that, actually.
And then because once you get to the end of the year, you know you're going to be able to move Pirtle somewhere, and he can do the rim protection that you need for the second team that Nerlens Noel could do.
I believe the Lakers have.
Good point, Sean. Thank you.
If I'm hearing the Knicks are going to, there's word that the Knicks may buy out Cam Reddish. So in terms of the buyout market, that might be an option if the Lakers can't get Bev out. Now, here's what I know this is going to be weird for me to say, but if there's one thing that Bev has done well this last month, is shooting threes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had to keep him
Chaos.
Okay, a little bit, but please, Rob, one more thing. Get one more impact player, one perfect role player that can work with this, and let's see if we can go on a 20 out of 27 run here to end the season and maybe get
that's
some
what
momentum.
we're going to have to do. We're going to have to do something like that. We're going to have to win 19, 20 games. But
I just don't know this fascination with Reddish. He shoots 30%. He shoots like Russell Westbrook from the outside. I understand he's athletic. I understand he's young, but he's found his way to DNPs on 2 different teams in his short career already.
Yeah, but look at Malik
that should
Monk.
Tell you something.
Look at Malik Monk. Look at Lonnie Walker. Guys who had pedigrees because they were drafted much higher than what they performed. And when you're getting guys who are at the minimum salary, that's what you're looking for. Reddish is that next step up, which is the same place where Vanderbilt is, which is Sadiq Bey. They're the guys who are still on rookie contracts, but they're not doing well enough that they want to extend them for sure. So all of a sudden they become available in a trade with the Lakers. I mean, the other option I was almost going to say was I might take Bohan and Bey and give them a first round unprotected pick for it, because we don't have any forwards. We don't have any small forwards.
I will say this though, Gerald. If the Raptors really want that first round pick, then you're gonna have to give up Delano Blanton.
Yeah, that's a good point.
6'9". Delano Blanton, Tom. Watch some of his highlights on YouTube.
He's got some promise. He's got some size.
He does.
So you want him as a throw-in?
He's very noticeable. I've seen him play 3 times, and he's very noticeable. So if the Raptors, sometimes you got to give a little to get a little. You know what I mean?
Well, once again,
I think if you're the Lakers and you're giving up that pick, and they're pressing you that it's got to be only 1 to 3 or maybe an unprotected pick.
You want a young player. You're absolutely right, Sean. You want a young player to
want some compensation there, right? A player, untapped potential. You want something from us. We need something from you, and let's make a deal.
Let's make a deal indeed. Well, the Lakers have made 2 deals. Obviously, the Rui Hachimura trade earlier, and today's trade with the trade of D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, and Malik Beasley coming from both Utah and Minnesota. The Lakers giving up Russell Westbrook, Juan Toscano-Anderson, and Damian Jones. They're going to Utah with a likely first-round pick in 2027, numbers 1 through 4. Coming back to Minnesota are Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Mike Conley are going to Minnesota with the 2024 lesser of Washington-Memphis' second-round pick and a 2025 and 2026 second-round pick via Utah. That's going to Minnesota. So very interesting day. We were asking for another trade and hopefully getting more than that tomorrow. We will be here definitely tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time, for 2.5 hours. We're going to be going through all the various trades in the NBA for the NBA trade deadline special. Later on in the evening will be 7 o'clock at the playback.tv / Lakers Fast Break live watch party. And then, of course, the post game, the best Lakers post game that's out there, as the Lakers face off against the Bucks. with not all the members in place. I have a feeling we won't be seeing the new debuts as of yet. There, I think it's a little bit early. They probably won't be able to get through the medicals and the physicals and everything that they need to do in order to go ahead and get on the new teams. But hopefully by the weekend, we can see our new
We'll have
team
addition by
settled.
subtraction, though, Gerald.
Yes. Without Russell Westbrook, who is now gone out of our Laker lives, I think things hopefully will definitely be better. Jamie Sweet has to admit he is surprised because he said Rob would do nothing at all before the trade deadline. He said he was able to get he's surprised Rob was able to get permission from the Cabal to make a deal this big. They took off his training wheels. I still think, again, we got to see the end result of this.
I think the most amazing part about this deal is he got expiring contracts other than Vanderbilt at $4 million.
Yeah.
That I never thought would happen. I didn't see that coming. I thought if they were going to get any kind of legitimate talent, they would have had to have sacrificed next year's or at the end of the year clearing of the contracts. So this trade, functional flexibility wise, is the most surprising part. They got talent in return with very little commitment beyond 2023. This was a next level trade. Like, Rob made up a lot of ground on this. If he trades Beverly for a Gary Trent Jr., it's over. Like, he's back and he can come actually sit down like a normal human being at crypto.com and feel like he's not going to get booed every time he's eating popcorn.
Well, I'm just
all right. Joe, why do you feel the need to correct yourself? Just call it Staples. Just call it Staples. Just call it Staples. You know what? I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this crap. You know, I go to see baseball games at the Sky Dome. It's not the goddamn Rogers Center. It's the Sky Dome.
That's a good point.
So, but Staples no longer pays for the advertising, my friend.
Advertising.
That's why we need to have an owner that buys their own stadium and names it after the team.
Well, that's what I was saying. You know, are they long for the crypto.com arena? We know the Clippers are moving. Would the Lakers do the same at some point in time if they don't get their own arena?
Jerry West arena, where they
I don't know where did that discussion come from, where you actually thought the Lakers would leave?
I'm just speculating.
Why would you speculate?
Crypto.com arena is old. It's now old.
Gerald is correct.
I mean, it's now considered old. It's the 90s, so it's considered old by this time. So you know how these teams are. That after a while they're just like, oh, it's so old. The locker rooms are now.
Where are they going to move to? El Segundo?
I don't know.
Downtown is already bad enough. If you take the Lakers out of downtown, that whole thing will be a toilet.
Orange County, man, Orange County.
They'll become the Los Angeles Lakers of Anaheim.
Right.
Oh God.
But Gerald, it's all about the money. You've been hanging out with Russ too much.
These Las Vegas guys, you just don't know.
Gerald's always been about the money.
I've always been about the money. Okay, I guess so. That's what Joe says. If that's what
just
Joe
call
says.
him G-Pac.
No, please don't. That's bad.
I just did.
But, yeah, please don't anymore.
You know what? Gerald gets razzed, but you know what it is, honestly, is that there was a very interesting YouTube video I saw with John Sally, and he was talking with Vlad of Vlad TV, and he was explaining how money is a language. When you understand and learn how to speak the language, you can be fluent with money.
Yeah, John Sally's also fried his brain.
Well, that's a good point, Joe. Broken clock is right twice a day.
Didn't he say LeBron wasn't going to break Kareem's record 3 months ago?
He says a lot of shit.
I'm like, what the? There were things, again, I got to go back and look at the footage. I'd watched some of those with Vlad. He said something about Kobe, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I was there. I know what happened. And it was like no one watched anything.
Hey, man, he's a vegan. He likes smoking weed. What can you say? But he's correct about that. And all I was saying was Gerald just understands the language of money. He doesn't love money. He just understands.
It's just again, I see things, see how it's transpired in other areas with other teams. See how these teams get itchy a little bit when their stadium gets a little old. Like, for instance, with the Golden State, they had to have that shiny new Chase Center because they couldn't hack it anymore on the other side of the bay. We saw what happened with the Clippers. They can't hack it in crypto, so they got to go and have their own arena. The Lakers are probably going to get jealous at some point in time because the Clippers have their own fancy new arena and the Lakers still have, the crypt. Which is, I think,
got a fancy
as
new
it gets
arena
older,
with
it will be more aptly named
The crypt.
the crypt. Yes.
Well,
So it's just, like I said, I don't know anything. I'm just speculating at this point.
You don't know anything?
NBA observations.
the crypt.
But
Like
it
the
is
crypt
the Lakers
keeper.
making a big trade. We all four of us are in agreement that this is a positive step for the team. Even if you don't want to, even if you don't like D'Angelo, even if you don't like Jared, even if you don't like Malik Beasley, you get rid of the one player that most people have wanted gone off this team for quite some time in Russell Westbrook. And I think
And Jamie's the only one who's against the trade.
he said he likes the trade.
He said he liked it.
No, you
He
can't.
said yes. He
He's
said he
in the
liked
comments.
it.
like any trade. I know
He's in
because
the comments now.
got
I have it
1,000
right.
trades in front of him.
He said, decent trade. We'll
He
see
said,
how this
yeah.
looks on the court.
Oh, decent trade. Oh, okay.
See, that's a like. That's a like indeed.
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah,
So,
that's like the eighth glass full.
I like the trade. I think it's a step in the right direction. We'll see how much in the right
9.
direction.
The 9 out of 10.
I think with like Laker Tom and Joe and Sean, are right in the fact that this needs to be step 2. Rui was step 1. This is step 2. We need a step 3 or 4 in order to go ahead and get to that next level. So we'll see what happens in the next, about 18 hours or so. So we'll see what happens there. But if you have any questions for us, we're here all the time. Lakers Fast Break, wherever you get your social media, or Lakers Fast Break right below in the comments, even after we go off the air. We'll definitely be here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific to 12:30 p.m. Pacific for our live trade discussion, watching the trade deadline happen as it speaks. Tom
Knowing that we already have 2 trades in the bag.
and Tom will not need blood pressure medicine, so he will not go off on a rant this year. So that's already safe. It's already safe for Tom. We will not get a heart attack on this upcoming episode. And that's a good thing. And then afterwards, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break for the game against the Bucks. And of course, afterwards, the best post game in town and the best Lakers chat in town is the Lakers Fast Break. Even DeMarcus Cousins talking about that right there. So Albin, thank you so much. Kenneth, great to have you here. Everybody, I know that you're just getting off work and you're just getting us now. Terrence, you've been great. Douglas, so many great voices in the chat, new voices as well. Ime just coming back to us. Alan, just so great to have everybody here. Danny P, thanks so much to everyone that was part of our great chat. Richard, just so many great names in our chat. Just truly appreciate all the great people that are now catching us. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We need all the help we can get. We're almost at 450 subscribers. We truly appreciate everyone out there. What?
We're at 451.
We're at 451. All right. So congratulations to us. 500 is the next stop.
And this is integral.
Sorry,
to
455.
note.
There
This
you
is
go.
integral to note. They have 4 games left until the All-Star break. What's their record?
3-1.
3-1.
I think so too.
They're going to lose
3-1.
tomorrow because no one's going to be playing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Derek, R. Anthony, great to have you here. Tom, 3-1 and next 4. Is that fair?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that if we are going to make it to the playoffs, we have to start tomorrow. I mean, and Anthony Davis has to dominate.
Yeah.
That's
He
what
has
I'm
to
looking for.
take it to.
He has to say, okay, I'm going out there and I'm going to score 40 points. I'm going to be the guy who's going to do everything. I'm going to block every shot. I'm going to grab every rebound, and I'm going to just dunk the ball on people over and over.
I have a feeling, I really have a feeling that the Westbrook locker room atmosphere really played a huge part
Yeah.
in why this team could not click
how can you have stability? Because you know that major components are
Your highest paid player, not even LeBron, your highest paid player just decimated your chemistry, your enthusiasm. That's where my instincts are telling me that's going to be the big change in how they're going to go in the locker room and go at the end of the games now, not worry about what Westbrook make 3 passes in the last few minutes that cost us 8 points.
right.
Well,
Yep.
it's a funny thing about pressure, right? It can burst pipes, but it also creates diamonds. And
you know what I say about that, Sean?
what?
It's not our problem now. So yes.
Pressure, that's a different kind of pressure. That's
But what I'm talking about is there's a saying, it's not what's in front of you, it's who's standing beside you. And I think that was an issue with Russell Westbrook on the Lakers.
Well,
Are
you know what?
Are
Westbrook
you in
It'll
it?
be a fresh,
Like the rest
fresh
of us
new
are in
start
it?
and a real. I think the Lakers could dominate the game tomorrow.
Well, I'm
It'd be
so
nice.
glad. Again, we've correct. You know, we didn't fully correct the worst trade in Lakers history, but we did get rid of Russell Westbrook, and I think that was the key of over any addition that we made. Getting rid of Russell Westbrook, I think, was the best thing for this organization going forward.
Well, you had to get rid of him right, or otherwise it would have just pulled that trade even further down in the infamous rolls of bad trades.
Yeah.
You know, you have to get some back, and to be honest, I think that these 2 trades combined were a lot more than I expected that we would get from Rob Pelinka.
and the fact that they're top 4 protected.
Yeah, and
was huge.
And the fact that they set up, even though I don't like it, I do appreciate the fact that they do set up the Kyrie Irving situation.
You never know. You never know.
It's a big part of why we did this. It's a big part of why we did this.
That groan by Sean said it all. That was
Yeah,
I didn't even ask him to do that. That was perfect.
Kyrie,
As
you're not done with Kyrie yet.
long as it's not Draymond Green, please.
Oh my gosh. Get him, get
Ben Simmons.
Draymond, retain Patrick Beverly, and then
You know what?
Traded
I-
for Ben
re-sign
Simmons.
Russell Westbrook. Re-sign Russell Westbrook. There you go. Yes. Oh, we would all
Well, I
take
think
like
there's a chance we could send Beverly back to Minnesota. You know, he wants to go to Minnesota.
There was a YouTube video going around where a guy took a drill with eating corn on the cob and put out his front teeth. I think if Draymond Green, Russell Westbrook, and whoever the hell else nutcase out there reunites from the
Simmons.
Lakers, I might
Kyrie
do
Irving
that
and
drill
Ben-
right here.
Yeah. There you go. Absolutely. All those guys, put them all back on the Lakers. We'd be popping. You would see the intro with us popping like Advil by the whole bottle.
The Nutso All-Stars.
Yes, there you go.
I'll
But
bring
once
him
again- But once again, check out Laker Tom, the #1 Laker blogger, and Jamie Sweet. You want to see they're going back and forth. You can always go ahead and check out Lakerholics.com. Be part of the fun today at Lakerholics.com. You know, Joe Soro is going to be checking out LakersBall.com and hanging around there as Ox1947, sharing his thoughts on the trade. So go ahead and check out Joe right there at LakersBall.com. Plus, also as well, if you need a new lawn transformed today in the Southern California area, Simblades with a Y.com. Our good friends at the Hoop Heads Podcast Network. I know they're probably going to be talking about it here with all their shows. Appreciate being part of their family. And also as well, if you get a chance, I'm doing a Super Bowl preview on Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Of course, the Pop Culture Cosmos talking some great stuff coming this weekend. And also as well, everything that we do here at the Lakers Fast Break. So for the Magic Man, Sean Grice, who was literally in Toronto traffic as the trade was happening. That was so funny. That was just the timing was everything on that. Joe Soro at Simblades, and of course, Ox1947 at LakersBall.com, and Laker Tom, the #1 Lakers blogger that's out there at Lakerholics.com. This is Gerald Glassford. I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day for this emergency Lakers Fast Break podcast. We truly appreciate it. Please like and subscribe and help us out any way you can. Any last thoughts, Joe? It seems like you have a
Josh
finger.
Hart going to the Knicks.
Josh Hart is going to the Knicks.
Per Woj.
Shout out to Nick Molina for the scoop.
Nick Molina updated it. Nick Molina feels kind of bummed about it because I would have actually liked to see Josh Hart come back, but
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
would have
want
been
to trade
great.
him to
Let's
begin
get
with.
let's get the gang back together. The pre AD days. But I will say though that Nick Molina does a great job for us behind the scenes, and so glad he's a part of what we do here at Playback.tv. Big shout out to him. Also, Henry with Courtside Lakers, giving us access to thousands of people on Instagram at Courtside Lakers. So please go ahead and like us there too. And of course, Lakers Fast Break on every social media, including Instagram as well. So thanks so much to everybody for watching, listening. Hey, we've got a new lineup that we're going to go ahead and showcase in the not too distant future. Will there be more? We'll tell you about all the trades and we'll update you. We got 2.5 hours coming up tomorrow morning. So go ahead and check us out live for the NBA trade deadline right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.